Ever since the 80s and 90s, anime from the East has exploded in popularity in the West.
And it's all thanks to these two shows right here. But despite being two of the most recognizable characters in Japanese pop culture, these two have never met. Until now.
Son Goku vs. Sailor Moon. The Super Saiyan vs. the Pretty Guardian.
He's one fish mob and I'm free crab mob, and it's our job to see who would win an all-out fan war.
Long ago, there existed a race of warriors called the Saiyans. With their violent nature and love of battle, they were feared throughout the galaxy, plundering and conquering entire worlds as they saw fit, and slaughtering all that got in their way. But even the mightiest of warriors must fall.
You see, the Saiyans were under the command of a tyrant known as Frieza, but eventually they grown tired of being his minions, so their king, Vegeta, decided they tried to fight back against Frieza, who decided to blow up their home planet Vegeta in retaliation. That's not confusing at all.
With planet Vegeta's destruction, most of the Saiyan race was effectively wiped out, and only those off-world survived. But only one of them would truly become the mightiest Saiyan of them all. Son Goku. Originally named Kakarot, he was born into a lower-class Saiyan family, but was eventually sent to the planet Earth with the intent of conquering it.
But upon arrival, he immediately hit his head on a rock and forgot everything.
Here, he'd be taken in by the martial arts master Gohan and raised as his adoptive grandson. And after many years, many teachers, and many long hours of training, Goku became one of, if not the mightiest warrior the universe has ever seen.
And since Goku is a Saiyan, he took this role of fighting bad guys like a fish to water.
Goku was not only a natural-born fighter, but his body is a lot more powerful than that of your typical Earthling. He can heal a lot faster than normal humans, has a sense of smell on par with that of a dog, and hear people through concrete. And that's just to name a few.
As a kid, he can push massive boulders, train under 100 times normal Earth's gravity, and even punch a hole through King Kai's planet. He casually moves faster than the eye can see, made his way across the 1 million kilometer long Snakeway in 2 days, and was fast enough to counter Hit's time skip, which literally stops time itself.
Goku's also tough enough to survive a fall from space, attacks that can destroy entire islands, and block sword strikes that could slice people into pieces. Not only that, he's a genius when it comes to fighting, learning new techniques in seconds that take other people decades to learn, outsmarting his opponents mid-fight, and he even learns better while fighting. So obviously, Goku usually carries at least some weapons to use in battle.
Like the Power Pole, an unbreakable staff that can extend or contract to an endless amount. The Flying Nimbus is a magic cloud that Goku rides, which can reach speeds up to Mach 1.5. And if he ever needs to patch himself up, he can eat a sensu bean which he carries in a handy satchel.
But if the situation calls for it, he can use the Evil Containment Wave, which basically traps anyone inside of a little pot. Outside of weapons, having been trained since childhood, Goku's main expertise is obviously battle. He outclasses many martial arts experts, including those with decades, if not hundreds of years of experience over him. But his most potent ability is his ki, the life force of a living creature which can be utilized in a variety of ways, including flight, energy shields, or even fire a blast of ki, which can reach thousands of kilometers, and range from leveling entire mountains to destroying entire planets.
But it's more than just fancy little energy pellets. He can sense other people through their ki signatures from kilometers to entire dimensions away, and even channel it into other attacks, like his signature Kamehameha.
While the Kamehameha has many variations, all follow the same principle: a concentrated laser beam of ki energy fired at a single point, the power of it depending on how much Goku himself puts into it. But this isn't the only technique Goku knows. He has trademark moves like the Dragon Throw, the Speedy After Image, the Blinding Solar Flare, Destructo Disc, and the always handy Instant Transmission.
He even learned the feared technique of destruction, Hakai. By concentrating all of his energy into his one hand, he literally wipes people, body and soul, from existence.
Though it's good to note that he hasn't truly mastered that.
But it's not like he doesn't have anything else to fall back on. With his pure heart, he concentrates the energy of all living things and objects around him to form the Spirit Bomb, a massive ball of ki energy that basically ensures any evildoer who's hit by it is going to die.
And sure, the Spirit Bomb is only lethal to those who are truly evil. He can also absorb it back into him to drastically boost his power. But if he wants a boost in power quickly and more easily, he can use Kaioken, an upsurge of energy that multiplies his strength, speed, ki, and senses by around 2 to 20 times. That was until his battle with Frieza. In this duel, Goku was finally able to push past his limitations and reach a power that was never before seen. On that day, he unlocked the legendary Super Saiyan.
With this new form, he can boost his already impressive abilities to new heights.
Goku's had many variations of Super Saiyan over the years, with new ones coming out the wazoo even to this day. So we'll just stick to the most notable ones. His standard Super Saiyan transformation multiplies his base power by 50 times and can be maintained for an entire week. Or he can go one step beyond and enter his Super Saiyan God form, which lets him use God Ki, a form of ki that can only be used and sensed by deities, making him as powerful as a literal god. But you've probably figured that out just by the name alone.
And while this form has a significantly shorter time limit, he can do a lot with that time. When fighting Beerus, the god of destruction, a single clash between the two of them sent ripples across the universe like a pond.
The shockwave itself is estimated to move at about 107 quadrillion times faster than light, with its power possibly reaching several times infinity as it was able to reach out of the universe and into the afterlife, which is also infinite in scale as well. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, a single universe in Dragon Ball is technically 3 universes in one, and the shockwave rippled through all of them.
And immediately after this, he absorbed an entire world-ending attack from Beerus himself.
But it wouldn't be too long before he unlocked an even more powerful form, Super Saiyan Blue. With this, he becomes 10 times stronger than Super Saiyan God, not only multiplying his already impressive power, but it should also increase his speed as well.
Remember Snake Way? That path is 1 million kilometers, and he crossed it in 2 days, which would mean he would have had to move at about 20,000 kilometers an hour. Multiply that by SSJB's multiplier of 64,000. This means Blue Goku can travel at speeds of 1 billion kilometers an hour.
This form also gives Goku perfect control of his ki, enabling him to use it in short bursts to conserve energy. He can even combine it with the Kaioken to increase his godly power by, you guessed it, 2 to 20 times. Though overuse can cause delayed onset ki disorder.
Say what now?
Oh, just a rare condition that makes Goku unable to use more than a fraction of his ki for a few days. Nothing too bad.
So he gets sick for a few days, he'll walk it off. But none of those transformations come anywhere near his ultimate form, Ultra Instinct. Goku's most powerful form currently, Ultra Instinct lets him automatically react to any threat without having to acknowledge it.
Ultra Instinct is actually based around a real-life state of mind called Mushin no Shin, a mental state skilled martial artists are said to enter during a battle, allowing them to move their body without using their brain. Because of this, it allows Goku to freely strategize while fighting as he no longer needs to think about what move he'll need to make next, while also drastically increasing his power and speed.
This is a state of mind even the gods themselves have a hard time mastering. And they've lived for millions of years! Yet Goku was able to fully master this in the span of one lifetime. Forget surviving an exploding planet, surviving a run-in with Beerus, and winning a tournament that saved his universe from complete annihilation. The fact he even mastered this thing is a true miracle.
However, this form can only last for a temporary amount of time before it strains his body and forces him back to his base form.
But hey, even without Ultra Instinct, he's still a proven warrior and champion of Earth. He won the 23rd World Martial Arts Tournament, defeated nearly every major villain that appeared in Dragon Ball, earned the respect of Lord Beerus himself, and proceeded to train under his servant/teacher Whis. He even became friends with the Omni King, the most powerful being in the entire Dragon Ball multiverse. Just goes to show you what a little kindness and ass-kicking can get you.
Well, that's just the thing. Outside of cooking, survival, and kicking ass, Goku's kind of an idiot. He lacks a formal education, and it took him years to learn how to drive. Not only that, while he is incredibly tough, he still needs to breathe like anyone else, and he only has a limited pool of ki to use. But what may be his greatest weakness would undoubtedly be his desire for a fair fight, preferring to fight his opponents at their strongest, and is even known for not finishing off or sparing weaker opponents.
Like old Frieza himself, who repaid his kind gesture the only way he can. But don't worry, Goku corrected this mistake.
Regardless of what limitations Goku has, you can be sure that no matter the threat, be it big or small, Goku will surpass these limits and will always find a way to persevere.
I am the warrior you've heard of in legends, pure of heart and awakened by fury. That's what I am. I am the Super Saiyan Son Goku!
Thousands of years ago, there existed two kingdoms. The Golden Kingdom of the planet Earth and the Kingdom on the Moon. The Silver Millennium. And it was an age of prosperity shared between both. And it's here, the Moon Princess Serenity fell in love with the Earth Prince Endymion.
But one day, dark forces conspired and plunged both worlds into war, resulting in both kingdoms' destruction and their future leaders being killed.
But this isn't how this story would end. Using the legendary Silver Crystal, the Moon's Queen used her dying breath to reincarnate her daughter and the other Guardians on Earth, to one day stand against the darkness that once consumed both empires. And thousands of years later, both Serenity and Endymion would reunite under very different circumstances.
Major Bumsville, oh, I'm so late!
And it's already a downgrade.
Usagi Tsukino was a far cry from her old self. A bit selfish, a drama queen, lazy.
So lazy, her future self would send letters back in time just to tell her to study more. That's the kind of lazy we're talking about here, kids.
But I hate studying! Ah!
But despite her drawbacks, she still cared very deeply for her friends and family and lived a relatively normal life. Until she met Luna.
A talking cat who told her she was the new protector of her adopted planet, and showed her how to become the pretty guardian, Sailor Moon.
And with this new title came new impressive power. She can instantly kill most enemies with a single well-placed attack, bypass conventional durability by attacking on the spiritual plane, and blast her way out of dark mirror universes with a simple gesture, destroying said mirror universe in the process.
She's fast enough to fly from the moon to the Earth in a single sunrise, flew to the center of a galaxy in seconds, and is faster than Sailor Venus, who flew from Earth to Venus in seconds. In fact, all Sailor Scouts have been stated to move several times the speed of light.
To give a fair estimate, the stars Vega and Altair can easily travel over a dozen light years every year once a year. Estimating the distance between them, the fastest one of these two should, at bare minimum, be traveling at 16 billion miles per hour, with the highest estimation being 120 trillion miles per hour maximum. And remember, the stars are essentially civilians, not fighters, so Sailor Moon's abilities should scale above them. But she's not just fast. When scaling her to the other Sailor Senshi, she's tough enough to survive attacks from Queen Metalia, who was stated to be a threat to all of creation itself.
And even survive being within Death Phantom, a literal spawn of chaos with gravity so intense it can rip literal tears in space and time.
She even survived attacks from the Black Crystal, the evil equivalent of the Silver Crystal that has the power to warp all of space-time. Which brings us to Sailor Moon's equipment. The aforementioned Silver Crystal, the one that reincarnated her, also acts as her star seed, a thing all living things start out as, including planets. But special star seeds are chosen by the planets to develop even further to become Sailor Crystals, which eventually become Sailor Scouts. In short, her very soul is not only the source of her powers, but is also a holy gem of infinite power, rebirth, and immeasurable energy, granting whoever wields it dominion over the entire universe.
And while she's never done most of this stuff, it's been stated that the Silver Crystal can warp all of time and space, protect Sailor Moon if she risks death, could easily destroy stars, which the power needed we've estimated, revitalize planets, teleport people,
and it was even stated to have the power to create a whole new universe.
But that's not the only toy she has. With the Disguise Pen, she... what else? Disguises herself for more covert missions. And she can even throw her tiara like a boomerang that she can control the path and trajectory of.
She was even tricked into getting combat training from a video game by her fellow Sailor Scout, Sailor Venus.
Really?
I am not joking.
Huh. But her most powerful weapon would undoubtedly be the Moon Power Tiara.
The final weapon she received that lets her rival beings that might as well be gods, and allows her to use a plethora of different abilities. And while Sailor Moon has had a lot of different equipment over the years that works similarly to the Moon Power Tiara, we'll focus on the latter as it is not only the strongest tool she has, but nothing says she can't access the same powers and abilities from its weaker predecessors.
With Moon Twilight Flash, she reflects a beam of mystical moonlight. Moon Princess Halasian creates a piercing beam of light that can penetrate space-time and magical barriers.
And the Spiral Moon Heart Attack can directly attack illusions. Hell, her crying is stated to be able to destroy entire dimensions.
Man, if every crybaby was like this in the world, we would never have a moment of peace.
But if she needs a little extra firepower, she can transform into Super Sailor Moon. In this form, she is so powerful, the mere energy emission from it was enough to scare Pharaoh 90, who effortlessly moved his entire separate world at massively faster than light speed, which held a galaxy big enough to be its own miniature universe.
That's the Tau star system. It's a perfect miniature universe created by our science class.
As Super Sailor Moon, she is able to use the Rainbow Moon Heartache, a more powerful version of the Moon Spiral Heart Attack that is powerful enough to destroy illusionary dimensions. Or instead use the Moon Gorgeous Meditation, a wave of rainbow color that shatters an opponent's space-time and locks them inside a glass dimension. But even this isn't her full power.
When she really wants to kick some ass, she transforms into her final form, Eternal Sailor Moon. With unrivaled beauty and a new pair of angelic wings, she ascends to true godhood. In this form, she was able to match the all-powerful Sailor Galaxia in combat. She was even able to protect herself and others from chaos, a primordial evil that threatens all of creation in its entirety.
Not like it's any surprise, as this form gives Sailor Moon her most powerful attacks.
The Starlight Honeymoon Therapy Kiss uses the power of the entire united solar system to create a space-time vortex to lock an opponent in place. It's so powerful, it can even attack through dimensions. With Silver Moon Crystal Power Therapy Kiss, she creates an aura of intense energy that has the power to destroy her fellow Sailor Guardians of the Soul System, who are all in their eternal forms as well, in one shot. And with Silver Moon Crystal Eternal Power, she uses the direct power of the Silver Crystal itself to summon the Sailor Crystals from inside the Galaxy Cauldron, the birthplace of all creation, to attack her opponent until they break apart.
But her most powerful ability is undoubtedly the power of Lambda. Obtaining them after she entered the Galaxy Cauldron itself, she gained the supreme power of the cosmos. With this, she was finally able to destroy chaos, literal non-existence itself, with one shot!
And despite the Galaxy Cauldron effectively erasing her, the Lambda powers both restored and maintained her within the Cauldron itself, and with it came grand new powers and responsibility. With the evil of chaos defeated, she would seize the aging of Earth's people, rid the world of evil and sickness, and become the queen of a new silver millennium. And at long last, she was finally able to marry her dearest prince, and become the true Messiah of peace.
Yeah, she came a long way from that whiny crybaby from the 20th century. Now she is the future self who sends her past self those letters.
But don't mistake this for her being unbeatable. Despite being a warrior of peace and justice, she hates fighting and tends to be very merciful towards her enemies. In fact, she rarely goes all out during a fight. She's also more of a team player than a single fighter, has absolutely no formal combat training, and despite her immense power, she's still only 16 years old.
Wait, she's only 16? Well, that makes every transformation seem more uncomfortable now.
Regardless of that uncomfortable fact, much like the Earth's natural satellite, even in the blackest of nights, the light of Sailor Moon will always shine brightest in the darkest of hours.
I am the pretty guardian who fights for love and for justice. I am Sailor Moon. And now, in the name of the moon, I'll punish you.
Alright, the combatants are set. This battle shall have no prep time, no outside help, or home field advantage.
It's time for an all-out fan war!
Champion of Earth I've heard about.
Who are you exactly?
The name's Goku. I protect this planet and like a good fight. And judging by the looks of your energy, you'd make a great sparring partner.
I'm sorry, what?
I heard Saiyans could be trouble, but...
Are you really done fighting already?
I was only scouting for trouble!
I don't know. With how you're handling things, it doesn't seem like you were that well prepared. One day you'll have to fight someone like me. Unlike me, they won't be as easy on you. This is a chance for you to truly let loose and see what you can really do.
everything's back to normal. I wonder what happened to that Goku guy.
I can't even move now. That was a good fight. I'll have to try harder next time. But when that day comes, I'll remember to ask Super Shenron to heal me right after.
I guess that means I win.
Fish Mob, get the reinforcements ready, because it looks like we're going to have a lot of angry fans on our doorsteps.
Don't worry your little shell off. I've got us prepared. I haven't been grinding Minecraft for nothing. In any case, this was a difficult battle to figure out, as there were a lot of factors going into this fight. Both characters have shown feats on a universal scale and beyond. Both had many different attacks to use at their disposal, and each had many ways of countering the other's techniques, abilities, and equipment.
So, to make it easier, we broke it down into these categories: physical might, power, durability, speed, skills, abilities, equipment, and hacks. Right off the bat, equipment was not a real factor, as they either served a sole function, easily countered, or realistically, paled in comparison to the much bigger category.
The same was true for speed. While it was hard to gauge Sailor Moon's speed exactly, but as proven time and time again, she can move massively faster than light in base form, and as she transforms into her other forms, she should reasonably become faster than that.
While Goku was the opposite. In his base form, he has never shown speeds comparable to Sailor Moon's and had to transform just to reach those similar levels of speed.
And depending on which multiplier you use for Goku's transformations, and which low or high ball estimate we could use for Sailor Moon, that makes the variables a lot more unpredictable. So, to be fair, we'll say who is faster is a nebulous question.
But when it comes to simple brute strength, Goku unsurprisingly takes this category, as he has displayed far greater feats of physical strength than Sailor Moon, leveling buildings, punching holes in many planets, and once shaking free infinite universes with one punch.
But when it comes to raw power, of the cosmic kind, it was a different story. Goku can match universe busters and then some, but Sailor Moon has shown both the ability to not just destroy universes, but also universal concepts, something the Super Saiyan has yet to do.
As well as survived attacks from the Dark Crystal, which, we must remind you, is an object of boundless universal power stated to be as powerful as her own silver crystal. And that's ignoring how her weakest attack can destroy dimensions.
And to add to that, while Goku's ki energy does indeed have its limits, the Silver Crystal's power is limitless. And let's be honest, the only thing more impressive than Goku holding his own against a god of destruction is Sailor Moon actually defeating a being of absolute destruction. While Goku, back in his early days, could only scale to planet busters, which means, logically speaking, the power boost most of Goku's transformations provide pale in comparison to what the Pretty Guardian's transformations provide. Realistically, and safely speaking, the only form Goku currently has with palpable information would be Ultra Instinct.
But that's a given because it naturally ties into the next category, skill. While Sailor Moon got her training from a video game, it can hardly count as real combat experience. While Goku has actual proper combat training, he's literally spent his entire life getting better at the craft, and has technically won more battles on his own than Sailor Moon.
Which brings us to abilities. And while this was a difficult decision, we had to give it to Sailor Moon. Both had a lot of similar abilities and attacks that they can use. Both can teleport, seal each other away, and both would just keep getting stronger with each new form they take.
But don't get us wrong, Goku has plenty of things to work with. He could see through Sailor Moon's disguise pen with Ki Sense and has a larger variety of attacks to choose from. He could easily keep Sailor Moon on the defensive, But
Sailor Moon is one of the most broken characters we've had on Fan War, period. Just by their usual standards, Sailor Moon's abilities are just objectively more destructive and far exceeds Goku's usual destructive potential. She even has abilities that directly counters Goku. For example, the Moon Tiara Boomerang could easily kill him on contact. The Moon Princess Halation can penetrate any of Goku's shields. The Lambda power directly counters Goku's Hakai. She even has 2 attacks that can potentially lock Goku in place. You get the picture.
even things like the Spirit Bomb would be completely ineffective, as it specifically only destroys evil beings, which Sailor Moon is the true polar opposite of. Which brings us to durability.
And sure, Goku may be tough, absolutely, but the edge once again goes to Sailor Moon. Why? Because Sailor Moon has withstood attacks from and consistently fights beings with universal and reality warping powers far more consistently than Goku, and has even survived attacks from opponents who have shown similar capabilities as Dragon Ball characters, while Goku has been taken down by far more mundane things. Or, at least, mundane by Sailor Moon standards.
Even with Ultra Instinct, it would still struggle against Eternal Sailor Moon, and her busted Lambda powers outdid anything Goku's transformations allowed. Which brings us to the final category, the one we've been technically talking about, and what it ultimately comes down to. Hacks.
And for this category, we'll just keep it brief because, yeah, it's obvious. Sailor Moon has attacks that bypass conventional durability, and attacks on both the spiritual and mental planes of existence instead. And attacks like the Silver Moon Crystal Power Eternal would easily tear Goku to shreds. She could also just lock him in place, seal him away, etc, etc. We've already said this.
A lot of her attacks directly counter a lot of Goku's, as previously mentioned. It can revive the dead, restore universes, and that damn MacGuffin crystal also lets her do things like defeat abstract beings and purge literal concepts from the universe. What else can we say? Actually, yes, let's just give Sailor Moon the advantage for equipment. Why? Because the crystal is just that broken and counts as part of her equipment.
It was a tough call, one of the toughest in our show's history. Goku may be a tenacious fighter that could give the Pretty Guardian a run for her money, but Sailor Moon had the cosmic power, the endurance, the hacks, and a lot more options to counter the Super Saiyan and put him down for good.
Looks like in the end, Goku was just KO Kenned.
The winner is Sailor Moon. But if you want to see a rematch between Heroes Goku and Sailor Moon, this is what you have to do. Click that like and subscribe button and share this video. If this video gets 5,000 likes, there will be a rematch. But until then... Next time on Fan War.